Hey friends, I'm Lori. I am the creator behind Stitch and Moan. Welcome to my creepy crochet channel. So this was my first market, and I've only been crocheting since November of last year, but I wanted to go ahead and try to start doing some shows. So the first one that I signed up for was a reptile show, and there are several reasons why I wanted this one to be my first one. First off, it's a show that I've been to several times. It's an established show in the community. It happens 2 or 3 times a year. People know to expect it, so there's usually a pretty nice crowd. It's indoors, so that was another nice one, especially since it's March in Kentucky and you never know what the weather's going to be like then. Another reason is the low entry fee. The table fee was only $40, and that included an 8-foot table and 2 chairs, 2 comfy chairs, not like, folding chairs or anything. These were actually comfortable chairs. We didn't sit down hardly at all, but it was nice to have them there if we wanted them. I know the layout of this venue. It had nice parking lot, nice load-in area. The admission was only $5, and kids under a certain age got in free. So it seemed like it was a really good kind of low stakes first type of show, plus I know the type of vendors that are going to be there already. And there were 2 other crochet vendors there, but we'll get to that. With the type of crochet that I like to do, since I'm not like the typical crocheter doing like the bees and the chickens, which that's totally fine. That's just not my vibe. I do the creepy things, spiders and scorpions and things like that. And those are all things that you would see at one of these shows anyway. So my whole goal was to make things that would be seen there anyway. Okay, so for some of the things that I bought prior to the show to get ready for my display and everything, I'm coming into this with absolutely nothing, so I pretty much had to buy everything. I got my tablecloth from Amazon. It was like $24, I think. It was one of the 3-sided, 8-foot fitted tablecloths. That way, we could just slide our totes under and have them working as our little rack station. And if the few times that we did sit down, we could get under the table and be comfortable. These baskets I got from the Dollar Tree. I have this size, and then we have the full sized. They were $1.25 each, and these big ones fit right inside. These 58-quart totes from, I think I got them at Walmart. I don't even remember. So everything just sat right down very neatly into the totes. For my tags, I just used black cardstock and had a paper slicer or a paper trimmer, and then wrote everything in like silver metallic marker. And then to get them stuck onto the baskets, I used double-sided tape, and I also got these little paper clips, clothespins, sorry. I got these at the Dollar Tree also, and they were $1.25. And obviously these are not the grasshoppers, but I had them stuck right on there, and they worked really nicely. So those were my tagging and everything. And then I got these really cool purple bags. I didn't have to use a lot of them, but like these purple plastic bags, because like that's kind of my whole color scheme. And I got those on Amazon too. I think they were like $15 for 100. Eventually I'd like to go to like the craft bag with a stamped logo on it, but for right now this worked fine. Here is everything that we have for tomorrow, except for this. This isn't coming. Madam. So let's talk about what sold and what didn't sell. I almost did not take my mini slashers with me because I was afraid to. I didn't know how well they would be received. They were my bestseller. I took a mini Jason, a mini Freddy, a mini Art, and a mini Ghostface, and I sold Jason, Freddy, and Art. For some reason, Ghostface didn't sell, which I was shocked about. He had a lot of interest, but he didn't sell. But the very first sale we made that morning was to another vendor who bought Freddy, and I had those marked at $45 each. And typically at markets, that's not something, that price point doesn't go quick, but the mini slashers at $45, those were a hit. And if I had multiples of each one, I would have sold them all day. I got this tip from Morgan at LA Crochet. I'll tag her and put her handle down at the bottom. She had mentioned if you're doing a show where there might be a lot of kids there, have a price point that's more kid-friendly, and then also have something with little embroidered eyes for like the little kids. So what I did, since it was a reptile show, I made 4 of these, and I just called them baby snakes. It took like maybe 20 minutes to make each one, and it was like scrap yarn from leftover things, and then I just embroidered their little eyes on. This was like a baby garden snake pattern, I think is what it was, and I'll tag all or list all of my patterns that I use below. But I had these at $8, and I sold 3 of 4, and would have sold another one if I had a purple one, because a little girl said that she wanted a purple one, and the other crochet table, they had one that was purple, so learned that for next time. Let's see what else sold. I made, the Wednesday before the show, I decided I needed rats, like desperately needed rats, because they always have a lot of rats there, and like the live rats are always very well received from people. So I decided that I needed to make some rats. I found this pattern, very cute. I did tweak it a little bit. I didn't want to have to sew a bunch of legs, so I thought that doing surface bobble stitches would be easier. It was not at all easier. I will never do that again, but anyway. And then I switched the tail out, because the original one was just a chain with a heart at the end of it, and the Valentine's Day has passed, so. But I made 3 in the gray and 3 in like a light brown color, and these little guys, this color, this is the mouse that goes with the little rat. I had these marked at 12, and these were 9, I think, but this was the other color. I had 3 brown mice, 3 gray mice, 3 gray rats, 3 brown rats, and this is all I have left. These were incredibly popular. Of course, the kids love these because it's Remy. But yeah, these, I will, if I do another reptile show, I will always have little rats and mice. So these were the only 2 that were left. What sold? I made the Crochet Grove Coiled Snake that everybody loved. I have him priced at $25. Obviously, he did not sell. I had a bigger green one and then 2 yellow ones that sold. My milk snake, my big guy, he didn't sell, which I was kind of shocked. I only have him at 45. Maybe that's why. I don't know if he was like only at 40. Maybe he would have. I don't know, but I still have him. He will be put on my Etsy shop. Okay, so for some of the smaller items, I wanted to make sure I had a lot of those. I did the Grasshopper, the Cockroach, and the Scorpion, all from Dee Dee's Plushies, her Buglings. I did 4 or 5 Scorpions. I have like the charcoal gray, this like brownish color, solid black, green and black stripe, and this green actually glows in the dark, and then a red and black stripe. I didn't sell any of these. Some people thought that they were lobsters. I had scorpions right behind them, but I don't know. I don't know if maybe it's just because of the size. I used Bernat blanket yarn, so they may have just come out too big. I liked the bigger size, but I don't know. These are gonna go on my Etsy shop also. The cockroaches, I made 6 and I sold 1 of them. I was worried that I wasn't gonna have enough, but as it turns out, I did. My cat's helping. But these little cuties are gonna go in my Etsy shop also. The grasshoppers, I thought these were gonna be huge. I made 10 and I sold 2 of them. So these might go on my Etsy shop also. And then the big disappointment for me, I think, was my sea slugs from Yarny Box. I love, 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 love this pattern. And I love this yarn too, this purple. A lot of people picked them up, but I made 6, 2 in the plum, a pink like chenille velvety one, a lavender one, and this was the end of the Perfect Phasing Bernat blanket yarn in the green. So you can tell this one is a lot darker than this one, because I did them at 2 different times. I think I made a snake in between these. I'm not really sure, but I had these and I took a total of 6 and none of them sold. Made some spiders, which I've shown these off before on social media and everybody loved them. My spiders, these are from Darling Maple Designs. I love this pattern. I made a gray one, a pink one. We have 2 black ones, and then that same like brown color. This is Bernat blanket yarn, and the color is taupe. That is not taupe, so I'm not really sure what color to call that. It looks brown to me. And then I also made 2 like a lavender color. I sold 1 of those, and then the little boy behind us, he traded me he was going around trading a lot of things with the other vendors, and he traded me 2 stuffed hamsters that he traded in another booth for one of my purple spiders, to which he then traded for a 3D printed something or other from the booth across from us, which was funny because she said that she really wanted one of those spiders. So I'm glad that she ended up getting one. And then the last thing, I made these 2 big axolotls. They're not big, but you know, I measured them earlier and I think they're like 13 inches long or something. This pattern is also from Yarny Box. I love all of her patterns, but this axolotl in the Fluffy Flex from Michaels in the green, and I just did like a yellow on the gills in the back gill, and then I made one in the blue also with the Fluffy Flex, and this gill fabric or yarn is also the very end of the Perfect Phasing in the Bernat. And I also painted the safety eyes. I don't know if you can really get that on there, but I'm like super into painting the safety eyes now. So yeah, but I had these marked at 35, I think. I don't remember. But they obviously didn't sell, so they're going to be in my Etsy store. I did make a smaller pink one with Big Twist Posh in like the pale pink. I think it's called like strawberry cream with, and for the gills, I used the Bernat, I think it's Bernat Pipsqueak, which I love using. I had that marked at 25 and she sold, but she was a little smaller than these two. I was kind of bummed, but there was an actual axolotl vendor there. So it was cool to see a lot of people like walking around with new ones that they were going to take home. So that I think is what sold and what didn't sell. Okay, so as far as like tips for any newbies to markets, I think my number one tip would be to make sure that you have lots of snacks and water. There was a food truck at our event, except it was barbecue. And I was afraid to have anything like that near my plushies. Plus I just didn't want to eat in front of the customers. I come from a retail background, so like that's a big no-no. So just make sure that you have some like easy to grab snacks, lots of water because you will be doing a ton of talking. My husband and I were both getting over being sick that Sunday. So I was hoarse at some point and I felt bad talking to people, sounding like that. But, so just, bring lots of food and snacks, and water. Let's see what else. So I mentioned earlier that there was another crochet vendor there. There were actually two there. And when I had gone to the event in January, they were both there and I talked to one of them. The other one I didn't have a chance to talk to because I was with my son and he was over it. They were both very nice. One kept coming over and checking on me to make sure that we were okay and like, how are you guys doing? And it was just really, really nice. It was a very big crowd that day, so I didn't really have a chance to interact with the other booth. But when they got there, my heart sank. I was like, I kind of figured that they would both be there, but I didn't know for sure. And when they both got there, I was bummed. I'm not gonna lie, because I was hoping I would be the only one there. It ended up being totally fine. I had much different, like way different things than they did, and that was fine. That was my whole vibe kind of matched with the reptile show with the creepy stuff, like I said earlier. So I wasn't really worried that we were all gonna have, the chunky bees and they were all gonna have mushrooms. I don't think anybody had a mushroom there, but I didn't have anything, with the exception of some snakes, but all of our snakes were different. So if you're doing a market and you see other people in your same kind of, I don't want to say industry, but your craft or your art, it's okay because it's all going to be different. It's not going to be yours. They have their thing and you have your thing. It's unique to everybody, and your stuff may pull a lot, a much different type of shopper than the booth down the aisle from you. But don't get discouraged because I honestly feel like there's room for everybody. Okay, I'm really sorry about the glare, but there's just nothing that can be done about it. I don't have a cute aesthetic. I hate that word, by the way, so you will rarely hear me use it. But anyway, I don't have like a cute craft room right now. I'm hoping in the future I will have like a really nice crochet room, but that just is not here right now. But anyway, we'll have to just deal with my low production value and the light glaring off of my glasses. My cat's fighting in the floor in front of me. So another thing that I just a little tip that I would want to throw out and that I'm going to keep in mind for my next show is a lot of people asked me how long it took to make certain things. I crochet pretty fast, so I didn't want to be like, oh, this only took me 20 minutes. But I do think going forward, I'm going to keep that in mind, like how long some of the bigger things took me, just so I can, you know, not to like brag or anything, but have a little more of a connection with the item and make it less like a thing and more like a piece of something. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, and I'm having a very hard time like getting it out. But like my larger slashers, they take like minimum of like 10 hours to make. And you know, everything takes a different amount of time, but that's time that you're putting into it. Like you're working on it with your hands, and you're like bringing it to life, I guess you could say. So that's something that I want to kind of keep in mind for my next show. So I can, you know, just like, well, that took 4 hours. Now, my next show, I will talk about it in a future video, but it's a little different than like a regular craft market. So I can actually have like the higher dollar item, higher priced items, and it'd be totally fine. But like I said, I'll get to that. But I think that would just be another fun way to have like a personal connection to what you have, and just show that, you know, you are dedicated to your work, and that it's, you know, something that you really love, and that you're excited to have it out there. Plus it gives you another opportunity to interact with your work, and people really like that. So that's just another little offhand tip that I would share. So hopefully that helps any newbies in the future. Okay, so that is the end of our first crochet vlog. If you've stuck around this long, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. And then I'm gonna have to do the lame, if you like this content, please like and follow and subscribe and do all that stuff, like all that YouTuber stuff. This is a channel that I am excited to make or work on. I am very new to YouTube as far as like being in front of the camera. I don't like it at all. I don't know if that like comes across or not, but I'm trying to like get better at that. I don't have a script, obviously. I'm not used to being in front of the camera, so this is something that I'm like working on as we go. So I'm learning in real time. Also, you know, I said before, I am new to crochet, so I'm hoping that as I learn some different things, I can share it on my channel also for any other newbies, because I have learned a ton from YouTube, and I'm very grateful for everything that I have learned. So I just want to be able to share that with other people. But yeah, this is what we can expect from my channel. In the coming weeks, I have some like a week of crochet video coming up. I've got some custom orders to work on, and the big show announcement that I keep teasing, and I'm sorry, I'm just really excited about it. And then I've got my first order of Premier yarns coming to me. So I'm gonna be doing a whole unboxing video on that, which I'm really excited about that because I've never used Premier before. So anyway, that's my first video. As I learn more about editing and all of that fun stuff, the videos will be a lot prettier. And like I said, hopefully one day we'll have a very cool room to shoot in and everything. But for right now, this is it. This was my first attempt. So be kind. And anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next week. Bye. Happy hooking.